Hello everyone, it is B with the B code and welcome back to my channel. So there is a huge uprising on YouTube regarding the Son-Husband. Now the title of this is The Son-Husband Debunked. Is your son the husband or the king of the castle? And we're going to go into debunking this theory that these black men have come up with regarding the son being a son husband. Now, from what I can tell, this started because of Jim Jones saying on an interview that his mother taught him how to French kiss and that she was his first French kiss. The number one thing that we have to start doing as black people, or black men need to start doing, is they need to stop associating everyone else's household and the things that take place in everyone else's household and transferring that to all black women's households. So there's a thing about single mothers and their sons, and the sons being the son husband for some odd reason or another. Now, here's my take on this. As we dig into this, we're going to look at some reasons why a son now takes the role as head of household. So here you have a queen who's on her throne, and you have this goofy over here who's supposed to be sitting next to her as the king, but instead of him doing that, he's out being exactly what he is, a goofy. So the queen, thinking that she had a king, decides that she wants to have a big family and raise children and have this wonderful, beautiful life with her children while she's sitting next to her husband on her throne. Well, we know in the black community, this doesn't happen. What ends up happening is that a man or men will come into your life and drop a whole lot of babies on you and then decides that instead of him wanting to sit next to you on a throne and man his kingdom, he wants to go out and be a goofy. Now, here's the thing. When we give the black man the title king this, king that, king this, king that, when in all actuality, he nor the woman knows the duties of a king and what a king is. Now, first of all, a king is a man that has a castle and he is running a nation of people. He has a kingdom. So he sits in this castle and then he runs the kingdom from the castle. The king is rarely caught outside the castle unless he has an emergent travel that he needs to take up, or he is in battle because someone is trying to infiltrate and take over his throne. With that being said, how many black men do you know that stay at home on a consistent basis and man their kingdom? Not many, because they would rather be out with other chicks acting like a goofy. So the queen, being that she has to stay home, she has to protect herself, and she has to help the king protect the throne, she is limited as far as what she can do. So when you have a queen that is sitting on a throne without a king, say for example the king dies, for example the king is ill, the purpose of them marrying and producing a male heir is so that when the king dies, or when the king and the queen dies, you have an heir, which is the prince, to take over the king's position. So he has to man the castle, he has to man the nation, he has to man the grounds, he has to make the decisions for the castle. With that being said, when the woman is left alone and she has produced an heir, it means that he is the prince, and for some reason, if the king is not present, he takes over the role as the king. The reason I say this is because, we're giving these men the king title, but we aren't making him do the king's duties. Even when the king is visiting with his concubines, he's doing it within the confines of the castle. Now, we can't, take it that far, which some men do. They have multiple wives or wives and multiple concubines because the law says you can only have one wife. So if he has more than one woman in the home, the first woman is the queen. The other ones are the concubines. Okay, which he's not supposed to be reproducing with the concubines, because then there'll be a fight for the throne between the true heir and then these illegitimate heirs. So with that being said, why would a black man, matter of fact, no, a black man would describe a son as a son husband, because in all actuality, he does not know what a king is, and he does not know the duties of a king. See, he wants the title, but he doesn't want to learn what the title is, and he doesn't want to perform the duties of a true king. With that being said, the woman knows. She knows that someone has to man the throne. She can only man the throne so far. So let's look at it like this. You have a queen, and her king is out being a goofy, or he dies, or he's mentally ill and he can't function as the king. While the son is young, he then has to be trained. He's supposed to be trained by the father, by the uncles, by the knights, by the army on how to be a king. So they would usually take him out and show him how to fight. They would start involving him in decision making. They would start training him that the most important thing is his castle. And once his father dies, he's going to become king. So now he has to make a proper decision in choosing a queen to help him maintain this kingdom and give and produce another heir, so that now when something happens to him, his heir can take over. So the process goes on for generations, and this is the only way the king is going to be able to pass the throne down, is through an heir. Now, if there is no heir, then that means one of the brothers are supposed to come in and sit on the throne as the next king. So, therefore, when you have the queen and she has brothers and she has no king, that means one of the brothers takes over the position. So, with that being said, if we now bring that back down to just the black family, someone, some male in the family is supposed to be protecting the women in that family. But see, black men, they haven't been trained to do that, because the goofy the goofy complex and the goofy behavior is being passed down from generation to generation. And then when you finally have a competent mother who knows that, hey, I have all these children, And if I do not train my sons or my son that the most important thing is his family and that he needs to be there to protect his mother, the queen, and protect his sisters, the princesses, then all types of goofies are going to infiltrate the castle and destroy the self-esteem and the purity of the sisters. He's going to wreak, they're going to wreak havoc in the castle. They're going to rummage through all the food. They're going to spend all the money. They're going to tear the place down. You know why? Because they themselves are not kings and they're jealous. So there has to be some competent man that is manning the throne. Okay, so the queen cannot just let any man come in and sit on the throne because all men are not kings and all men do not care. So nobody is saying that the son has to live at home with a mother in order to man the throne. No, that's not how every situation has to go. However, if the man, for in my perspective, if the man is not married and he is young, he should be at home with his mother. You know why? Because it allows him the peace and serenity to get himself together. He doesn't have to deal with these concubines out here and trying to destroy his life. He doesn't have to worry about these concubines calling the police on him. He doesn't have to worry about domestic violence with these concubines. And actually, when a woman recognizes that she has an upcoming king, she is supposed to keep her prince close. She is supposed to now protect her her prince as well as her brothers and her father. These young black boys are supposed to be covered and protected. But since his father is a goofy and he wants to be out visiting with concubines and making new families and not taking care of his king responsibilities, the son has to do it. So from my perspective, you have somebody that is describing themselves as a king or wants to have the king title but doesn't want to function in the king's duties, but yet and still he wants to be jealous because the mother recognizes that, hey, this man has no sense of family because he wasn't raised that way. And she recognizes that he isn't a king. So now she in turn has to reach down to her son and train him that family is the most important thing until you create a family of your own. And then when you do create a family of your own, the king doesn't just go off and leave his mother to fend for herself. No, the mother resides in the castle and she is continuously taken care of until she passes. So, with that being said, when these women are keeping their sons close, it means they are woke and they know that out here in the streets it's dangerous. If there is nobody raising these sons with the idea that family comes first, you're going to have nothing. Your mother's home is going to be ravished by bandits and goofies. If there's no gatekeeper at the door, that means your family is free game. And usually it is. And when I talk about free game, I don't mean that anybody can just come in and just do whatever the hell they want to do. No, because that just that's not something that should be occurring, or that's not something that usually occurs. When I say there's no gatekeeper, it means that these men come in and finesse the mother and come in and ravish the place and really don't give a shit about what's going on inside, don't care about the family inside. They're just there to meet their own needs. So this is what I mean when you have no one as a gatekeeper. The queen is vulnerable to the pickup artists that are out here. So with that being said, no, they're not son husbands. They're princes in training for being the king. And when they become of age and decide that they want to have their own families, or they start their own families, they are well equipped with the idea that family is first. And just because they go off and get married does not mean they still don't need to provide a certain amount of protection and oversight to their mother and their sisters. You black men, your minds are very, very dirty. You're very, very dirty creatures. You're very, very dirty minded creatures, and your mind is gutter. It's in the gutter, and it stays in the gutter. And this is why you cannot get yourselves together, because your mind is in the gutter.